Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have an excellent attacking game to share with you from 2009. On the white end, Vasyl Ivanchuk playing against Evgeny Alekseev. Alright, on board, we're beginning with what appears to be in English, but we quickly transpose. After this fourth move, d4, we're in Benoni territory, or a reverse Benoni. So I'm going to put these first 8 moves on pretty quick. I'd like to draw some attention to this reverse Benoni position and the standard Benoni. 8 moves in here, what can we say? It's black who has an invasive d-pawn, and the e-pawn has taken 1 step. Notice how the e-pawn interferes with the queen bishop. Compare that with the standard Benoni. 8 moves in. It's white with the invasive d-pawn, and the e-pawn has taken 2 steps. What does this mean? The queen bishop can now be deployed in an aggressive way, targeting a base point. In our game, in this reverse Benoni position, we don't have to worry about this queen bishop coming out to f5, targeting the base point. What does this mean? White can play a bit more freely, play on not only the queen side, looking to expand with the majority, but also the king side. We're going to see white eventually play an f4 advance. Okay, many of the moves are directly or indirectly involving pawns. So this last move here, occupying a half-open file, prevents black from easily expanding with the kingside majority. Castles, and the follow-up here is knight to a3. If you quickly scan this position, noting majorities, you may say to yourself, well, let me play a3 and then I'm ready to go with b4. Well, if you play in this way, black can shut down that idea with a5, and now how are you getting this in? White's plan with knight to a3 is to post it on c2, where it supports the b4 advance. Black underdevelops, is ready to go with this plan of f6 and e5, knight c2, f6, and the follow-up here is bishop d2. You could play in a much more direct way here as white. The computer says you could already go for b4. The idea here to meet knight takes pawn with either knight capture on d4. I'd be leaning more towards the king knight, opening up the bishop's eyes. And in the event of bishop captures, you could play this position here with an imbalance. And really, in fact, you get the pawn back as white. Bishop a3, queen b3. In the end, some nice play on that b2 pawn. All right, in this game, Ivanchuk tries to establish a pawn on b4, so supports it with bishop d2. Now comes a5, a3. We're ready to go yet again. With b4, black plays in the best way with a4 in a spot to meet b4 with capture en passant. One way or the other, with this setup right here, one of 2 things is going to happen for white. White's either going to A, get in the b4 advance successfully, or B, have access to the b4 square with pieces. The pieces are given access to b4. Hops right to it, follow up knight c7, and rook to b1. So in a way, white's maybe ready to play b3, capturing with the rook, or I guess in some cases, you do sidestep a line where the knight lands on b3. This is a sensitive square in white's camp, and when it gets there now, it's not hitting the rook. All right, from here, bishop d7, and now knight to h4. So white is ready to go now, playing on the other wing. f4, right around the corner. Follow up knight a5, in comes f4. Looking next at f5, possibly. Black tries to prevent that, playing g6. Now, how Ivanchuk follows up next reminded me of a game from 1957, Mikhail Tal versus his trainer, Alexander Koblents. Now, if we just key in on these 5 pawns, how did Tal continue? He hit that center pawn head on. He created tension right away. And after the capture, he advanced with his other pawn, creating more tension. In playing in this way, you don't give your opponent, in a way, a moment to breathe. You're immediately preoccupying their attention. They have to do something here about this tension that's being created on move 1 and then move 2. Notice Tal is not beginning with this pawn here advancing, then looking forward to hitting that center pawn head on. It's creating tension right away. Now, in our game, we have similar. It's just shifted slightly, but relatively speaking, we have the same scenario here. How does Ivanchuk follow? Right up the gut, creating tension with both of these pawns. Black captures towards the center, follows the general rule. What's a reason to not take away from the center? You do give up a pretty big square here on d5. 2 minor pieces now have access to it. Okay, in this game it is g takes f, and the follow-up, just like in the Tal game, another pawn advance, creating tension. Black's play here is f4. What is considered best is this capture. Now, why would you want to capture in this way, or why would you not want to, I should say, capture in this way? You're helping your opponent develop a queen with check, and there's a big difference here between the queen positions. This doesn't mean that white is better here. This is a very messy position still. It really can go any way. It has to do, this response f4 has to do with not allowing the queen to easily activate. In playing f4, this pawn is still an obstacle, we might say, for the white queen. Play follows with bishop takes f4. And now knight to a6. Pop quiz. How would you continue here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, this is considered a winning position now for white. Rather than knight to a6, it's recommending activating another piece with rook to c8, leaving this knight in a spot to drift towards the king side. Okay, in this game it goes towards the queen side. Ivanchuk's reply, this is the very best move, knight to d5. He's willing to give up a full piece just so that this bishop can arrive on d5. That's what happens in this game. Excellent move. Pawn takes knight, bishop takes pawn check, king g7. Follow up in this game, king to h1. This isn't considered best. This lets black off the hook for a move. After king to h1, it says knight c6, and black can apparently still defend, drifting a knight towards the king side. What is considered best here for white? This is a really cool continuation. It says queen to f3 with the idea to play to h3. What's the plan here? Let me just put on one more move here by black. Let's say a knight drifts towards the king side. Check out this mate. This is really pretty. We would have in this position bishop h6, check. This is what the queen post on h3 is setting up, a bishop sacrifice. King takes bishop, king in the corner. Let's check out each. If you take the bishop, you're going to get hit with a double check. King here, it's mate right away. You'd have to go down like this now, and eventually you get caught right in the center for mate. The alternative, going in the corner right here after bishop h6, we would have this pretty finish. Knight g6, you have to take, and then bishop takes rook, discovered check, mate. Look at these guys covering these escape squares. Okay, in this game, this idea of bringing the queen over to h3 was not played. Very sensible, however, the move played in the game, king to h1. This sets up ideas of knight to f5. We're going to have an open g file. This square is opened up now for a rook. We continue in this game with rook to e1. What is considered best? This is considered best, bringing the knight towards the king side. After rook to e1, white sniffs out the big weakness of the last move. And the big weakness here is f7. He's able to now play g5, allow this capture, allow a fork, because he's going in here with queen h5, queen f7 check, which is crushing. Now, in response to this g5 move, black goes to the corner. How does this look exactly if the capture? Queen h5 would follow. And now pick your favorite piece. It doesn't really matter. White can follow with queen f7 and bishop e4 in both cases. Let's have a look at pawn captures knight. Here's a pretty way the game could finish here. You ready for this one? We would have a 2 bishops mate. Okay, this idea to fly out with the queen to h5 is killing. From here, king h8, queen h5 still. Now black is staring down this idea, tries to defend, knight g6, gives up the rook. King takes is played. If you take with the queen, the bishop's going to fall. King takes bishop it is. And now g6. The g file will be pried open. There's a mate in 2 threat. No save here. Follow up bishop check. No problem. We could afford to give up some material. We're going to have soon this 4th and final piece in the attack. No defense here. Queen takes pawn. King goes to the corner. If you go to f8, it's mate right on the spot. King h8, and only one more move. Queen h5 check. Black resigns. If the game continued here, going to either square, it doesn't matter. The rook's going to end up on the g file, and the bishop will deliver mate. So what an interesting final position. I stared at this one for just a little bit. The queen rook and queen didn't move. And these knights are kind of like, not me. I don't want any part of that kingside attack. They are a long ways away from defending this attack against the black king. So, what did you think of this one? Anyhow, feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.